In this video, I show you Apocalypse Dawn by Kraken Studios. But before we get into today's video, just want to share with you what the GGGGs are for this month. Each month, Bob the Beholder picks some of my Patreon supporters to receive gratitude gifts. And for this month of July of 2023, we have 2 pledges for Dueling Knights Kickstarter. That's going on right now. My next video will be highlighting that campaign. We have $100 going towards a crowdfunding campaign, which my Patreon supporters are currently voting upon. And then finally, we have 2 all-in pledges for this Kickstarter, Apocalypse Dawn. Go ahead and use the link below to go to my Patreon page to find out more information. So most of this video is going to be walking through the Kickstarter campaign, and there are only 2 days left, or by the time I post this video, maybe a day and a half. So make sure you use the link below to go over to their Kickstarter page if you want to get in on this Kickstarter. So I've done a number of videos for Kraken Studios, in particular one of my most favorite terrain pieces, which is the Blitz Bowl pitch that I was able to print. If you want to check out that video, go ahead and go over here. But this is a apocalyptic set from Kraken Studios. I had the intention of printing out the gas station, which is their primary terrain piece for this miniature set of survivors as well as the infected. But I didn't have enough time. I went on vacation and so was unable to print out that really cool looking scenery. But I did manage to print out these 5 miniatures models because I got my resin printer up and running. And as you can tell here, they just look really cool. And in fact, the zombies are more along the lines of Last of Us, where they seem to be infected with fungi. So that makes them a little bit more distinct from the typical undead zombies. And as is per usual, these do come pre-supported, so I didn't have to provide any supports. You can also print these out without the base, or as I did, with the base on them. These were printed on my longer orange 4K. If you want to check out that video, go ahead and look here. Although that build plate is so small, I am in the market and hopefully will be getting a larger printer soon. But in the meantime, I am pretty happy with the resolution of these. Printed these out in 0.035 height, and the details on them are awesome. And I just wanted to give you a sampling of what the quality of the miniatures that you're going to be receiving are going to look like. The other thing that is really important to know is that Kraken Studios is intending on coming out with a rule set for this post-apocalyptic game. And so keep that in mind. I think this is going to be super fun. In the meantime, you can use other rule sets if you want. But this is going to be a really fun skirmish game. So make sure that you are subscribed because I am hopefully going to be doing a review video once those rules do come out. So let's go ahead and go on over to the campaign page and I can walk you through it. All right, so here we are at the Kickstarter page for this campaign, and they have raised about $31,000, which is fantastic. And again, by the time I post this video, probably only going to be about 30 hours left to go. So make sure you jump in on this if you want to. Let's go ahead and look at the pledge levels really quickly. And if you want just the miniatures, that's going to be about $28 US. And these are going to be delivered at the end of the campaign. And then here you have $34 for all the vehicles. The vehicles in here are awesome. And then if you want the environment, which is basically the gas station, that's going to be $39 US. And of course, it's a lot better deal if you are going to get everything, because that is $67 US. But then maybe you have your own miniatures or whatnot, so maybe you just want to get the props and the building and the vehicles. But that's entirely up to you. And as we scroll along, I love that they have actual pictures of the printed miniatures and the gas station. I feel like that always gives a better feel about what the actual product might look like. And I did talk with them. Typically, I print out all of my terrain on my FDM printer at 0.2mm height. But the details on this look so awesome, I might actually bite the bullet and print out all of the terrain on my resin printer, because Kraken Studios actually starts creating their STL files with resin printing in mind, and then has adopted them for FDM printing. Now here's something really different. This is the first time that Kraken Studios is offering a physical print for you. Although I think these are resin prints. I'm not 100% sure, but you can finally, if you don't have a 3D printer, jump in on this campaign and order these through the add-on. But here is the gas station, which again, I think is so awesome. I've always been impressed with Kraken Studios and their environments, especially that Blitz Bowl or Blood Bowl. And then here's a GIF of them taking off the top and being able to play it on the interior. This building is pretty big. It is not a small building, and that's why I didn't have time to print out all of the pieces. And it comes in many different pieces that you can make modular, or you can glue it together. I might glue mine together because I don't see myself changing up the inside of the store too much. But look at all of these different things that are on the outside of the building. You can also put in some glass. I just use clear plastic from like containers and things like that. I cut those out and put them in as glass. I think they did a fantastic job of making all of the vehicles look really rusted out. And then here they combined one of their previous Kickstarter sets, which was actually a sci-fi set, a rocky planet, to fill out the back part of the gas station where people are camping out, which I think is sort of cool. And then this is basically the rendering of all of the different pieces that you are going to be receiving. And again, look how awesome all of the furniture and things indoors. And then here's where I was talking about, you can swap out a section, throw in a bathroom, even with commodes that are right there, which again, just makes this a modular set. And then here are a bunch of the props, and I would suggest printing those out in resin. Although I have printed out props with my FDM printer, printing it at 0.1 millimeter height, and that usually does the job, although it takes a super long time to print them out. I love these sort of broken fences as well. As you can see here, it just looks so awesome. Now here are all of the miniatures. And you have a couple sets of miniatures, and here's a comparison, a size comparison. Basically, this is going to be 32 millimeter height, and this, I think, was a stretch goal, was the family unit that they're trying to escape. I love that she has this cart full of stuff. And then we also have companions, pets, that you can add on. And then here is the wandering survivors. And it goes on and gives more detail about each one of the wandering survivors. Another set is the street gang, and I printed out this guy throwing the Molotov cocktail, which is right here painted up. Like in all good zombie movies or series, it's not the zombies so much that are scary, but the other humans as they're fighting for survival. So this looks really cool. And then you have the street militia here. And my guess is when they come out rules for playing, you're going to pick one of these factions, and you're going to field a unit of maybe 5 with some heavies involved. Here are the infected, 6 different ones where you do have the heavy that I printed out. And then you can just print to your heart's content, printing out a ton of them. And look, they painted the fungus that's on them, sort of different colors, but they are appropriately disgusting that way. Here's a free miniature if you wanted to try and print it out. I did print this miniature. It turned out really clean. I didn't have any failures. Now here are honestly one of my favorite parts of this campaign, and that is the vehicles. And I am going to try printing these out on my resin printer, just to capture all of that detail. They have direct versions of these cars, which is super cool. And then you can put police lights or taxi on top of the Chevy, which is really cool. And then again, just did a fantastic job here of doing that. So that's overall what you're going to see here. Here are a couple of add-ons again, the physical add-ons that you can put on there. They talk about customizing the board. Oh, this bus looks super cool. Although I didn't see a bus. Maybe this is a stretch goal. And then here are the stretch goals. We have the survivors camp, which is really cool. You got the pets. You got the family, like I mentioned before. Oh, yeah. Okay, so here's the ambulance. That's a stretch goal. You have the water closet, or as we stay here in the United States, the bathroom. Oh, yeah. The school bus is locked. Oh, but you know what? They just broke this, so this should be unlocked. You have this infected abomination, more wrecked vehicles. There's a modular highway. So that looks really awesome. And then here you can link to their previous campaigns if you missed out on those. So there you go. Hopefully this video was helpful for you. Again, use the link below to go to Kraken Studios Kickstarter page. Jump in on that in these last hours if you want this set, which I think is a great deal. Again, use the link below to go to my Patreon page, and you might be chosen by Bob the Beholder to receive one of the 2 all-in pledges that Kraken Studios has graciously given, so that 2 of my Patreon supporters will be receiving that. Bob the Beholder is going to be making his picks at the last Sunday of this month. So make sure you sign up by then. Otherwise, happy printing, happy gaming. We'll see you next time.